Rise for Justice. Should the Supreme Court allow cameras in the courtroom? We'll tell you all about the controversy that's going on.
Finals time. The end of the semester is around the corner for many students. Find out what effect final exams may have on your health.
Christmas love. Some people are giving a special gift this Christmas. See what these girls are doing for the sick this season. I'm Janae Anderson.
And I'm Lydia DeFranchi. It's Thursday, December 8th, and in Utah, it's 12 o'clock.
From KBYU and the BYU Department of Communications. This is the award-winning 11 News at noon.
Those stories in a moment, but first we have breaking news from Virginia Tech University. Police say a white male shooter is at large after gunning down an officer and a second victim after a routine traffic stop. The school just reported that the officer and the second victim have died from their gunshot wounds. The university in Blacksburg is on lockdown as of 11 a.m. today, and officers are currently pursuing the shooter. We'll keep you posted as this story develops.
With the upcoming healthcare reform case, people want to see the action inside the Supreme Court, but current policy means cameras aren't allowed inside the courtroom. 11 News reporter Brooke Martin shows us how one group of BYU students is weighing in.
A communication law class at BYU decided to act out the controversy. They made it as real as possible, complete with floor-length robes and a real courtroom.
This group of students dressed up to reenact a hearing and see what it would be like to have the Supreme Court on TV. Right now, federal courtrooms remain a camera-free zone, and some say most of the criticism that faces broadcasting trials comes from the justices themselves.
And they talk about the sound bites that will be shown on the network news shows and how that won't give a full picture of the oral argument, and so people won't understand what really happened.
Most justices argue cameras are a potential distraction to the court system and could risk a fair trial. However, Justice Elena Kagan is vocally supportive of broadcasting. She says it would be good for citizens to see some of the best attorneys in the nation in action.
Everybody was so prepared, so smart, so obviously deeply concerned about getting to the right answer. You know, I thought if everybody could see this, it would make people feel so good about this branch of government.
Skeptics say the real reason justices are queasy about cameras is because they're not used to being second-guessed. Some say justices are used to getting their way and don't want to be up for public criticism. But BYU students say they can relate with the justices because they felt nervous just acting out a hearing on camera.
Supporters of cameras in the courtroom say citizens should be able to see what's going on within the marbled walls. But for now, justices are sticking by the law, keeping the Supreme Court a camera-free zone. Janae?
People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals is suing 2 Utah Transit Authority officers after UTA ordered them to stop handing out leaflets. PETA members were advocating for circus animal rights on a TRAX platform and say they have a right to free speech. UTA hasn't commented on the lawsuit, but a spokesman says officers can remove protesters if they're interfering with transit services.
While the state continues an investigation of a former UTA board member, UTA is taking steps to amend its ethics rules. The proposed ethics changes spell out which conflicts of interest board members must disclose. The board says the changes address a legislative criticism last year that a former member misused information to develop land around a potential station. The pressure is on as the Cougars combat the stress of tests. 11 News reporter Julianne Horsley tells us how students are tackling more than just chemistry problems and 10-page papers.
Loaded backpacks, piles of papers, and monster amounts of caffeine. Yep, it's finals week. The need to succeed is key to finishing any semester, but it's going to require more than just dedicated studying.
Some students get so stressed over making the grade that they sacrifice hours of sleep to bump their B to an A.
A lot of times if students are stressed, they don't get a lot of sleep. You know, they're worrying about their tests, they're cramming the night before, and if you don't get a lot of sleep, that's bad the next day when you're taking the test.
And students at BYU seem to prove his point.
How much sleep do you get during finals week?
Probably average 4 or 5.
2 hours, probably.
And couple that with fast food and unhealthy snacks.
I had bread, Oreos, milk, and some chips.
And you've got a recipe for disaster. Doctors say the overbearing stress of finals, along with long-term stress from other important responsibilities like work or planning a wedding, does more damage than you think.
It can affect things anywhere from the immune system to cognitive abilities. If you extrapolate that out for an entire life of being too stressed, it could actually cause more neurodegeneration in the brain.
Since there's no magic pill to cure feelings of stress or convince professors to forgo an exam, doctors recommend deep breathing exercises and goal planning to manage those wacky stress levels.
If you're still panicking over that American Heritage exam or can't seem to squeeze out those few extra credit points from your professor, the Wilkinson Student Center offers free stress management classes as well as biofeedback, where you can measure and track your body's response to stress. Back to you.
Utah Foster Care is always looking for new families to open their homes, and as 11 News reporter Lydia DeFranchi reports, they're especially looking for more Hispanic families to ease the transition for displaced children.
I want to see you.
You want to see me?
Yeah.
John and Casey Thill have been foster parents for 8 years, and after adopting 11 of the 56 kids that came through their home, they now have a beautiful, bubbly family of 15. The Thills say it's worth the effort.
Oh my gosh, so well, let's look into foster care.
No. Can you go play?
Excuse me.
But communication at home isn't always simple. In 2007, Child and Family Services placed Jacob, Andrew, Lydia, and Ben with them so the 4 siblings could stay together. And the youngest 2 spoke only Spanish.
When we were giving them direction or just trying to comfort them, they had no clue what we were talking about. So the older 2 children, Andrew and Jacob, would interpret for us.
Coming into a new home can mean eating new foods or adapting to a different set of rules. Pero añadir una barrera en el idioma hace que cosas simples, como pedirle la sal a tu hermano, sean más complicadas.
Now, the 4 Thill kids interact easily with the other siblings, but they've also completely left their original language behind.
One of the worries is that the children relearning Spanish might trigger some bad memories.
Recruiter Christina Lecluse says Utah Foster Care struggles to find enough Hispanic families to let them place children in culturally relevant homes. Partly because foster care doesn't exist in Latin America and people might not know it's an option. But Lecluse says Latino culture's focus on the family makes these parents especially ready to help out.
Oftentimes when we've asked families, why do you do this work? You know, what excites you about doing foster care? And they'll say, los niños traen vida. Children bring life to the home.
Sandra and Geraldo Rodriguez speak Spanish with the 3 children they took into their home, but they say they feel like they're the ones reaping all the benefits.
It's just a big emotion, you know, going from 0 to 3, an instant family, and it's just a wonderful feeling.
They adopted siblings Ashley, Jordan, and Eddie this summer, creating a full house. And they say they've never been happier. In Orem, Lydia DeFranchi, 11 News.
If you think you might be able and willing to provide a home, click on Lydia's story on our website, 11news.byu.edu. Utah Foster Care is always recruiting, and they also provide training sessions in Spanish. Josh Powell is still fighting in the custody case over his 2 children. Powell filed a court declaration stating his sons are being mistreated and abused by Susan's parents. The Cox family isn't speaking publicly about the boys, but Powell's sister says the allegations are absurd after seeing improvement in the boys' well-being during her visits.
When 11 News at noon returns, long lengths. Their donation is longer than the 2 tallest players on the BYU basketball team. Hear how much hair these girls chopped off for a good cause.
And behind bars, the court hands down Rod Blagojevich's sentencing. Find out how much money he has to cough up and how long he'll be in jail.
Christmas is a time of giving, and for one team of gymnasts, that means giving up something that's taken them years to grow. 11 News reporter Jocelyn Langford is live in the newsroom. Jocelyn, how did these girls join in the holiday spirit?
The girls at Arete Gymnastics in Linden were a little nervous, but very excited about the special gift they had to give. And they knew their sacrifice would help those with cancer and other medical conditions have a very Merry Christmas.
Aaliyah Lamont is a 9-year-old gymnast at Arete Gymnastics. This year for Christmas, she and her teammates decided to give a very special gift, their hair. And they did it for a good cause.
Because it's for kids with cancer.
Although Aaliyah is used to long hair, she's excited to give it to organizations who will use it to make wigs for those with medical conditions. Girls ages 5 to 17, and even some younger siblings, came to the gym prepared to say goodbye to their long locks.
Some girls are nervous, some are excited and very willing to donate their hair.
The gym transformed into a salon as hairdressers set up to chop, clip, and trim at least 7 inches from each girl. The owner of the gym got the idea to donate hair after watching several family members struggle with hair loss during cancer treatments.
Hair's hair, it grows back, and if it will benefit somebody else, make them feel better, that's what we're here to do.
When the day was done, the team donated more than 20 feet of hair. The girl who donated the most was a 7-year-old getting her very first haircut. She cut off 20 inches. Aaliyah was happy with her shorter hair after she chopped off 10 inches.
Oh, I can't wait to do this.
Hope that this will be an annual event so that they can donate their hair every year. Live in the newsroom, Jocelyn Langford, 11 News.
Thanks, Jocelyn.
A former Illinois governor is sentenced to prison, a Hawaii volcano puts on a show for the islanders, and an Oklahoma couple starts their marriage in a Starbucks. Here's your look at news from across the nation. The verdict is in for the former Illinois governor, 14 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. The court convicted Rod Blagojevich on corruption charges, including selling the Senate seat Barack Obama vacated. The trial ended with 23 counts against Blagojevich, and he will begin his prison sentence in the next 90 days. Things are heating up this Christmas in Hawaii as hot lava flows out of the Kilauea volcano. People say they can see the lava taking out trees down the incline, and it's now heading towards a small abandoned village that's blocked off. The lava is slowly making its way to the ocean, and the only way to see it now is by air. And they met over coffee, dated with lattes, and tied the knot in a decked-out Starbucks. Meet Carmine and Eva Caparello. They're Oklahoma newlyweds, and while they say they love each other, both share a love for a certain signature brew. Eva says she wanted her wedding to reflect on how their story began, so she walked down a makeshift aisle and toasted her husband with their favorite mugs. And that's your look at news from across the nation. Lydia?
Still to come on the news at noon. Dueling cats. Find out which 6 players from one team scored double digits when the Cougars and Weber State Wildcats faced off in the Marriott Center. Fishy business. The Sandy Aquarium will be relocating. See what exciting new attractions the new facility will have for your kids.
And it may be sunny skies today, but looks can be deceiving. You may want to think twice about putting on a jacket. I'll tell you what you can expect when you're 11.
So I know you mentioned earlier we have sunny skies, but bitter cold outside. It's freezing.
Yeah, are we at least going to have some snow?
No, we won't be having any snow since that storm last week. We've just been cooler and everything, but looking outside right now, what you're seeing is actually what it looks like. It's just a little chillier than you would expect. There's not very many leaves left on the trees, and you know what that means. Winter is just right around the corner. Currently outside, it is 27 degrees, and the wind speeds are calm, so that's good because we just don't want any more cool air just blowing through there. And so even though there's some snow in the mountains, but there are no snow in the valley. The snow totals for the mountains are looking pretty well for the ski season. Right now, Brighton has 28 inches. Powder Mountain has 24 inches, and then Park City has 18 inches. So those snow totals are looking nice. Surrounding areas are also getting those same kind of totals. And then just looking across the United States, we'll take a look at that storm that blew through Utah just over the last 24 hours, and then it just kind of built up over Colorado and over that surrounding area, and so it's just not affecting us. Our Utah highs for today are just looking a little bit cooler, of course, because it is the second week of December, but that storm didn't affect us very much. So Logan is 32, 37 in Provo, 33 in Nephi, and St. George, always being our highest, is actually 51 degrees today, so they're cooling down as well. So looking at their 5-day forecast, they're just plenty of clouds and sun. Look for their 5-day forecast, and then cooling down at night into the 30s, so that bundle up because it is going to be cold in southern Utah. And then in northern Utah, kind of the same pattern, but we're going to have the sun without the clouds right now, but then it'll come in Sunday and Monday. Our nights are in the teens right now, so it is really cool. So it is sunny outside, but I think it's the calm before the storm. I know that we want a white Christmas because this is Utah, and I say if there is no snow on the ground, it's not Christmas. But the Weather Service does say the 16th and the 23rd is when the storm is expected to come, and that is probably going to drop inches of snow on the ground.
Good.
Hopefully.
Exactly. The perfect news we were looking for. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks.
So our men's basketball team took on Weber State last night.
Yeah, Kelsey, how did we do?
Well, the men took home the W at the Marriott Center last night. Next on sports, walloped Wildcats. The BYU men's basketball team trumped their in-state rivals to keep their winning streak alive. We'll take you back inside the Marriott Center. And Sandusky released. He spent the night in jail following a new round of sex abuse charges against him. We'll show you why he's no longer behind bars. Sports is next. The BYU men's basketball team kept its winning streak alive in front of a home crowd against Weber State. With a big team effort, the Cougars walloped the Wildcats 97-66. 11 Sports reporter Otavio Souza takes us to the Marriott Center for a recap of last night's game.
With a solid defense and a consistent offense, the Cougars had 6 players scoring double digits to add one more win for their record last night. Freshman Nate Austin and junior Stephen Rogers came off the bench to score 15 points each. Head coach Dave Rose says that a good bench is a result of intense and competitive practices.
Our practices are hard, our practices are competitive. I think that when you get other players that start to come in and actually really do well with the minutes that they have, it raises the level of everybody.
The team finished the first half leading the game 47-34. Noah Hartsock was the biggest scorer of the night with 19 points. He gave credit to the whole team that gives its best during practice.
In practice, even though you know you're not going to play a lot, they give their effort, and that's awesome. That's what we really need.
After this game, the Cougars have a record of 19 victories and 0 losses playing against Weber State here in the Marriott Center.
I always want to keep that undefeated record. So we focus on coming out here, being aggressive, being tough.
From the Marriott Center, Otavio Souza, 11 Sports.
The Cougars now have a 7-2 record this season and are preparing to head to Salt Lake this weekend to face their biggest rival, University of Utah. And rivalry competition continues with the BYU men's basketball team. The women are riding a 6-game winning streak and looking for a shootout with 2 in-state rivals. The team takes on Southern Utah tonight at 7 p.m. in the Marriott Center, then turns around on Saturday at 3 for a Deseret first duel matchup against the University of Utah. The jail door that slammed on former Penn State coach Jerry Sandusky last night opened this morning after he posted bail. Police arrested Sandusky after 2 more men came forward with accusations about the former assistant football coach's sexual abuses, taking the total number of accusers to 10. Both of the new accusers say Sandusky forced them to perform multiple sexual acts with him and were sworn to secrecy. But Sandusky secured his release with $200,000 in real estate holdings and a $50,000 check from his wife. Sandusky maintains his innocence and will face a preliminary hearing on Tuesday. The Los Angeles Angels are sweeping the winter meetings in Dallas, adding 2 All-Star free agents. The Angels will sign 3-time National League MVP Albert Pujols to a 10-year deal for at least $250 million. They also picked up free agent pitcher C.J. Wilson with a 5-year, $77.5 million contract. Pujols turned down an offer from the St. Louis Cardinals, the only team he has ever played for. He led the Cardinals to a World Series title last season against C.J. Wilson's previous team, the Texas Rangers. To add some perspective to the signings, Angels owner Art Moreno paid $184 million for the franchise in 2003, but will pay the players much more than that over the next 10 years.
Well, the economy might not be so good, but it certainly pays to be in baseball right now.
That's right. It is a monumental day for those Angel fans, so
seriously,
we'll have to see what happens.
Thanks, Kelsey. Still to come on 11 News at noon, fishtails. These sea creatures are getting ready for a new adventure. Could there be some swashbuckling in their next chapter?
Utah's about to get a little more fishy. 11 News reporter Taylor Lansford tells us how a new aquarium is bringing more sea life to Salt Lake Valley.
Animals at the Living Planet Aquarium are preparing to meet new friends and make a big move.
The aquarium just announced it will be closing its doors next year for up to 6 months to move all the animals into a bigger and splashier aquarium.
Everything that you see here in the Sandy Aquarium is going to be in the new aquarium, but it'll be probably 10 times bigger.
The aquarium moving to Draper will be double the size of the current location, but until the new one opens, the Sandy Aquarium will act as a holding tank for more than 200 species, and the move will be one fishy job.
When each animal is ready to move, it will be one big move to the new aquarium.
The new facility will also bring in more species of animals, maybe even another sea turtle like this one that they call TC.
New activities will be available to guests at the bigger aquarium, including taking a dive on the wild side.
I will absolutely not be diving into the shark board tank.
Guests planning on buying yearly passes don't have to worry about time being cut short. Memberships will extend into the opening months at the Draper Aquarium.
Twice the size is just twice the fun for our kids.
In Sandy, Taylor Lansford, 11 News.
Have you guys ever been to the aquarium?
I've never been, but I'd love to go to the new one and see the bigger fish tanks.
Yeah, I'm just not sure about the shark tank diving. That sounds a little bit
I don't know
scary.
if that's for me either. I think I want to go to this one and check it out before it closes, though.
Definitely, and Taylor was telling me that those penguins were coming after her when she was filming. It was so funny. They were just like,
watch out for the penguins. Okay. Well, that's our 11 News at noon for Thursday, December 8th.
You can join us anytime on our website, 11news.byu.edu.
And this is our last show before the holidays, so thanks for tuning in and have a very Merry Christmas.